The wedding hall was glowing with golden lights, white flowers, and the sound of soft music. But behind that beauty hid a cruelty no one had warned her about. At just 18, Anna stood at the center of the room in a simple white dress, her hands trembling, slightly as she tried to breathe, through the fear tightening her chest. She had grown up poor, raised by a quiet mother who taught her that purity was strength, that honesty was wealth, and that endurance was survival. When her mother died, Anna was left alone in a world that measured people by money and status. Her marriage to Victor, the son of a powerful business family, was never about love. It was a deal. His family needed a pure bride to protect their public image, and she needed security, or so she believed. As the guests whispered behind their hands, Victor's friends laughed loudly, already drunk on arrogance, and his mother sat stiffly, eyes sharp like knives. Then it happened. During the toast, Victor stood, holding his glass high, a smile curling into something ugly. He began to speak not of love, not of promises, but of truth. He mocked her background, her poverty, her silence. Then he said the words that shattered the room. He accused her of lying about her purity, of trapping him, of being unworthy of his name. Gasps echoed. Someone laughed. Someone filmed. Anna felt the floor disappear beneath her feet. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. Her face burned with shame she did not deserve. Victor's mother stood and declared the marriage annulled in front of everyone, calling Anna a disgrace. The music stopped. The lights felt harsh. In that moment, Anna understood something terrible. Society loves innocence only until it becomes inconvenient. As she stood there humiliated alone, wishing the ground would swallow her, a man seated quietly at the back slowly rose to his feet. He was calm, tall, dressed simply. No one recognized him. But the way he walked forward, unhurried, confident, made the room fall silent. He looked at Anna, really looked at her, not with judgment or desire, but with respect. And when he spoke, his voice was steady and powerful. "This wedding is not over," he said, "and this story will not end in shame." At that moment, no one knew that this man was a self-made millionaire who had built his life from nothing, nor that his next move would change Anna's destiny forever. If you feel this story already, don't skip. Subscribe to the channel, because what comes next is not just revenge, it is justice. The man's name was Alexander, though very few in that room understood what that name carried. He had arrived quietly, invited by no one, because he believed in witnessing truth with his own eyes. Years ago, he had been humiliated just like Anna, mocked for being poor, discarded for having nothing to offer but honesty. He stepped beside her, removed his jacket, and gently placed it over her shoulders, shielding her not just from the cold air, but from the cruelty of the room. Then he turned to Victor and his family. Calmly, he revealed who he was. The owner of the very company Victor's father depended on to keep his empire alive. Phones dropped. Faces turned pale. Victor's arrogance collapsed into panic. Alexander spoke not with anger, but with authority. He exposed their lies, their manipulation, their history of destroying innocent lives for reputation. He declared that all contracts with their businesses were terminated, effective immediately. In minutes, power shifted. Wealth changed direction. The people who laughed moments ago now begged for silence. Then Alexander did something no one expected. He turned back to Anna and said, "You are not broken. You were tested." He offered her a choice, not charity, not pity, but opportunity, education, protection, a new life on her own terms. He did not propose marriage. He gave her dignity. The guests watched as Anna lifted her head for the first time that night, her tears drying, her spine straightening. She walked out of the hall beside Alexander, not as a victim, but as a woman reclaiming her future. Months later, Anna would become a voice for others like her, educated, confident, independent. And years later, when she chose love again, it would be because she wanted it, not because she needed saving. As for Victor's family, their empire crumbled, not through revenge, but through exposure. The world finally saw them for who they were. This is not just a story about humiliation. It's a story about who stands up when everyone else sits down. If this story touched you, If you believe dignity matters more than status, subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this remind us, sometimes one person standing up is enough to change everything. Anna's life did not transform overnight like a fairy tale, because real healing never does. The morning after the ruined wedding, she woke up in a quiet guest room of a modest but elegant house overlooking the city. Sunlight filtered through pale curtains, touching her face gently, as if the world itself was apologizing for what it had done to her. For the first time in years, she was not woken by fear, insults, or pressure. She sat on the bed, holding the jacket Alexander had left folded neatly on a chair, and allowed herself to cry, not from shame this time, but from release. Alexander did not rush her, did not lecture her, did not try to own her pain. He arranged legal help to clear her name publicly, counselors to help her rebuild emotionally, and most importantly, space. He believed dignity grows when it is not forced. Weeks passed, and Anna slowly learned to walk through the world without flinching at every whisper. She enrolled in university, studying social law, driven by a quiet fire inside her to protect girls who had no voice. The girl who once stood shaking at an altar now stood confidently in lecture halls, asking sharp questions, earning respect not through pity but intelligence. Alexander watched, from a distance, proud but careful never to step into her shadow. Their conversations were rare but meaningful. Long walks, honest silence, shared memories of being underestimated. Meanwhile, the city buzzed with the fall of Victor's family. Businesses collapsed, properties seized, allies vanished. People who once bowed now crossed the street to avoid them. Victor himself tried to contact Anna, sending apologies soaked in fear, not remorse. She never replied. Silence was her final answer. 2 years later, Anna stood on a stage at a national conference, speaking about dignity, consent, and the dangerous lies society tells young women about worth. Her voice did not shake. Cameras flashed. Applause thundered. In the crowd, Alexander sat quietly, clapping last, smiling the widest. After the event, under a sky painted with soft gold and blue, he finally spoke the words he had held back. "I didn't save you," he said. "You saved yourself. I only opened a door." Anna looked at him, not as a broken girl, not as a rescued victim, but as an equal. Love did not rush in like a storm. It arrived slowly, respectfully, built on choice, not need. Years later, when they stood together again in a wedding hall, it was smaller, warmer, filled with people who valued truth over status. No mocking laughter, no cruelty disguised as tradition. When Anna walked forward this time, her steps were steady. And when Alexander took her hand, it was not to claim her, but to walk beside her. The story ended not with revenge, not with humiliation reversed, but with something far stronger: justice, growth, and self-worth. If this story moved you, if you believe real power is standing up when silence is easier, subscribe to the channel, because stories like this don't just entertain, they remind us who we can become.